So I just want to take a moment. We are going to talk about the full moon and what it's illuminating. We are going to talk last night. If you are in my solar powered program and you missed the call, check out that call because goodness gracious, a lot came through. If you're not on that call and you want to be on that call, message me. Okay, I want to just send out some big love to our human family right now, like all sentient beings, especially in Cuba and France and all the places where people are uprising and saying freedom, 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 freedom. We are here for freedom. We are not here for any kind of tyranny. We're not here for any kind of control or lack of choices in our life. We are here for freedom. Daniel, hello. Hello, Literally. So if you can just place a hand on your heart, hand on your belly, and really just feel the love for the human family right now. And then we are going to get into the full moon. We are then going to pull cards. So if you typed your name in the chat, you're set to receive a card. If you didn't do that and you want to, type your name in the chat. So if you can just tap into your body, letting this love for ourselves and love for each other grow. Imagine this beautiful, luscious light. If it's golden, if it's white, if it's bright blue, if it's bright green, just let it be bright, let it be clear, whatever the color is, with the intention of freedom and love for all humans. And just let that ripple out to all the places on this planet and at home where we are struggling with freedom. Let this love emanate out, let this light emanate out, let it get bigger, let it get brighter, let it meet up with each other's beautiful energies, and know that we are all held, we are all here for a purpose. Okay, so much love to all of you, and if you don't know what's happening in the world right now, it is happening everywhere. People are awakening, people are confronting governments that have not held freedom for the people. Hello, Miranda. Hello, everyone. Hi, Jackie. So type your name in the chat if you want me to pull you a card at the end. I'm going to stay focused on this full moon, but I have to bring up, because as I was walking down here, I'm like, you know, I'm looking at this full moon. I'm thinking, I'm analyzing, because that's very much my astrological mind is very my masculine, like not feeling into it, just kind of like looking at it, looking at the bigger picture, and looking at the mirroring that we're having happening between that 1 degree of Aquarius and the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction that happened at 1 degree of Aquarius in December 2020, and how that sets a 20-year cycle, okay? So this is like, I often talk about how astrology is like acupuncture, in that certain planets hit on certain places, and sometimes there's like your back, there's like a bunch of needles going into your back because it's getting activated, because it's the points need to be activated to let blood rush through, let the chi rush through, right? And the same is true in astrology. When there are certain activations on certain points, it's lighting it up. So it's lighting up this 1 degree of Aquarius, okay? And this is really important because the sun will have just moved into Leo. And if you all are into astrology, if you're astrology dorks, this has some great, I mean, it's not a super long book, but it has some great activations. And one of the ones that I love is looking at the Crater Cup. And there is the Crater Cup of the tropical zodiac, which it is the summer and the winter cup. And this happens between 16 degrees of Cancer and 16 degrees of Leo, which is where this full moon is happening, and 16 degrees of Capricorn, and where the sun is at, and then 16 degrees of Capricorn to 16 degrees of Aquarius, and that's where the moon is at. And so looking at this Crater Cup in your own chart, now obviously this is if you're a little advanced and you know how to read your chart. If you don't, it's time to get a full chart reading, because the book is called Hermetic Astrology. Because if you don't know how to read your chart, this is the time to learn. So get a reading from somebody, that you love and you feel called to work with. And that's that. I have resources. So, you know, at this point, my chart readings are available, but I love really pairing it with the coaching. So that's kind of my focus. So if you want resources for people that I love that also just do readings, let me know. Okay, so back to the critical degree. Anytime we have a full moon on a critical degree, no matter where it is, it's going to be important, either at the first degree or the last degree of a sign. This is right as the sun moves into Leo, we are getting this activation, these acupuncture points on certain places. Let alone that, this is also a mirroring of that Jupiter-Saturn conjunction at 1 degree of Aquarius. Boom, 2 things that are important. Third thing that's important is on those crater cups, which are highlights of the human experience. It's the darkness, winter, not bad, not evil, just the darkness. What's in the shadow? Winter. What's in the light? Summer, right? The only way shadow powers have control over humans is those that aren't working with their shadow. You'll notice a common denominator among people who seem like they're doing their work or seem woke to you. The common denominator is they're willing to look at their shadow. They're willing to commune with their shadow. They're willing to love on their shadow, okay? So the only way shadow powers have control over humans is the humans that aren't able, don't have the resources, aren't willing to look at their shadow, to work with their shadow, to be in love with their shadowy bits. So this is it. This was like the download when I came down, when I'm feeling into the energy. It's like, that's the essence, that's the core, and this is this full moon, okay? I didn't yet talk about the fact that this full moon at the critical degree, at the winter degree of that cusp of the darkness, is also straddled. So it's like the moon straddled by Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, which is all about power and control, but from a place of authority and top down and structure and building. And Pluto at the end degrees of Capricorn, which has to do with Pluto, which has to do with shadow, which has to do with when you are willing and able to look at your most painful parts. That's when you get your power. And a lot of people are conditioned to be afraid of power, to be afraid of money, to think that if you have those things, you are going to be evil. This is the biggest misconstraint with this essence, which is our soul, which is our spirit, which is us being in our crown authority and being in our power, makes us the most compassionate we can be, because in order to get there, we have to look at, love on, and work with our shadow. It's the only way to get there. So the biggest illusion that people are awakening from is that there's something inherently wrong with being powerful, that there's something inherently wrong with having money, that there's something inherently wrong with working with your shadow. And so as people awaken from this illusion, it can be scary without having that guidance or that community. And so this is what, I just joined a collective. It's Collective Elevation, and we are joining together. There's multiple different people. And so if you're on Clubhouse, you'll find us there. If you're not on Clubhouse, that's okay. I'll be posting things here as well. But it really takes community. And the other thing is, this is why people work with me. You are not, when you look at the money or the monetary investment, that is a fraction of what this is really about. It's really about saying, my peace of mind, my clarity, me being in my soul essence is why I came here. And so I'm gonna make it work to work with you. And this is what it's all about. The people that work with me, ultimately, everything in their world shifts. And that's invaluable. It's not about the car you drive. It's not about the TV that you just bought. Hi, Jeremy. It's not about any of those things. It's, at the end of the day, it's about who you are and who you came here to be, and if those things are in alignment or not. Who you came here to be and who you are right now want to be together. They want to be in alignment. And the only way to get there is to be willing to look at your shadow, be willing to love on your shadow, be willing to be with your shadow. So we will see with this full moon the illumination of power structures trying to take more power, power structures trying to divide the people. We see this happening in Cuba right now. We see this happening in France. We see this happening in France right now. It's not on mainstream media, but there are protests and uprising happening all over the planet right now. And what people want is freedom. What people want is freedom. And so how do we get freedom? How do we get freedom in a collective is a lot more difficult than how we get freedom in our own lives. How we get freedom in our own lives is by being willing to work with our shadow, being willing to work with the parts of ourselves that want to sabotage, the parts of ourselves that are scared and just need our attention and our love. So we have free will as individuals. And that's where the focus needs to be. If we want to see any change in our outside world, in our collective experience, we have to be willing to do the work on our internal experience. And this is what I'm here to hold your hand and be with you in, to be doing the work alongside of you in, because it's never done. There's always more. And as someone who has her South Node in the 1st degree of Aquarius, I've been there. Pretty much wherever you've been, I've been there too. Someone said to me in a circle a long time ago, it's just like you've always been here. And it's like, yeah, I'm pretty much ready for graduation. And this is the lifetime where I offer just my complete vulnerability, my open heart to you all, in the hopes that I can say goodbye, farewell for a bit. So if you're just joining me and you want me to pull you a card, type your name to the chat. Woo, I got a little teary. This is big stuff, and the more that's happening in the collective, for those of us who are sensitive, for those of us that are empathic, whatever choices the collective is making, it affects us. And so you have to up your game, you have to up your tools, you have to be coming at life from your spiritual warriorship. This is what this is. This is go time. This is what we've been preparing lifetimes for. This is what, as a child, I was preparing for. So you're here. Welcome. I love you all. Know that this is not a full moon to charge your crystals. This is a full moon to tend to and love on the shadowy bits. To love on your scared parts. To love on your parts that are getting triggered like fuck right now. Different things happening for different parts of our family at different times to collectively awaken. It's just the unfortunate truth. And we shall overcome. We shall overcome. This is a malefic sandwich. We are being sandwiched between. The moon, Saturn, and Pluto put the pressure on. And so at this full moon, this is not the time to party. This is not the time to seek outside of yourself. This is the time to really do the work. Step up, step in, and hold space for yourself, because when you do, you're also holding space for others. This is also the full moon, the culmination of the efforts that you have put in coming to fruition, since Aquarius at its highest aspect has to do with luck and future and kind of the exterior world, your community around you. And so your efforts are rewarded. You want to look back to the new moon in Aquarius of 2021 to see where you were setting intentions. Oh gosh, thank goodness. I'm like, thank goodness I have this with me. So the 2022 planner orders will be up next month. I'm working away on it. And okay, let's look at when the new moon was, because I want to know. And I forget. All right, so the new moon was, why don't I have, okay, let's see. February, it was in February, early February, I don't have the exact date, February 8th through the 14th, somewhere in there. So look at where that was for you, what was going on for you in February, early February. This is the fruition of that. So whatever efforts you put in then, whatever work you were doing then, this is the fruition of that, okay? So really being aware of what the themes of Aquarius are and where it's happening. So where Aquarius house is for you. So that's going to have a big piece of this, of where you're being asked to look at shadow. Okay? It's not that I want to make it clear, Aquarius in itself isn't dealing with shadow, but this full moon is. So looking at where the first degree of Aquarius is, you're going to see where you're being asked to love on your shadow. Hi, if you're just joining me. If you're just joining me and you want me to pull you a card, type your name in the chat. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to know who's still here to get cards pulled. So you'll have to just type your name in again. And I'm going to get to that in just a second. The other interesting thing that's happening at this full moon is that Jupiter is opposing Jupiter retrograde. So thinking about Jupiter, right? We're talking about Jupiter and Saturn. We're at the same degree that now the moon is at. And Jupiter is in the early degrees of Pisces, about to move back into Aquarius. And Jupiter's retrograding in Pisces, showing us it's expanding on any Piscean themes, which is our illusions as well. And then it's opposing Venus over there newly in Virgo. And this has to do with we need to drop from our mind into our heart, and really expand on where we have had beliefs that are false, where we've had limiting beliefs, where we've had beliefs, I think my cards got a little, I'm going to pull cards for the collective for the full moon, but yeah, where we've had limiting beliefs or beliefs that aren't serving us. So this is the time to free ourselves. This is freedom. This is where, like, you know, if you've ever worked with me and you've had lifetimes where you've been imprisoned or where you've had shackles, where you've been a slave, this is the time of freeing your soul from that energy, from that energetic imprint. Oh, yay. Hello. Okay. So this is for the collective for this full moon. I feel like actually I wasn't quite focused on the collective. Okay. Sacred Fool. Notice the puppet on the strings, right? Notice how she's looking away. Notice how the puppet on the strings, right? It's like she's controlling things from her shadow. She's not looking at it. She's not loving on her shadow. And therefore she's the sacred fool. And when you become wise is when you're able to love on your shadow. You're able to respect your shadow. And therefore then it doesn't have control over you. It doesn't. 90 to 95% of our brain is the unconscious, and that's where the shadow lives. So you're making choices, your drives, your beliefs are scripted from this unconscious. And when we make it conscious, that's when we get our power back. That's when we step into our you know, that queendom, that kingdom, that Leo energy. Oh my gosh, there are so many spiders. Hello, friends. This spider medicine is very present as well. All right, so in general, at this full moon, journaling. I'm getting so many messages right now. Okay, so journaling, doing the inner work. Guess what, friends? It's my birthday. Someone just typed into my, sent a text that said, it's your birthday, which it's not my birthday today, but it's just funny that that came through. Because I almost forgot to tell you that for the next, well, until July 31st, there is a birthday bundle, and it's the July bundle, and it is like literally the best offering that you'll see from me this whole year. It's 2 sessions with me, 2 one-on-ones. One of those is an astrological reading, and one of those is a deep dive into shadow love. And and healing and energetics and freeing fragments and pieces where have been spread about the world. You need to bring it back home, bring it back in so that you can shine brighter. And then it's Bitches Shine Brighter, it's Open to Love, and it is Intuitive Success, skill development. So those 3 courses of mine, which are like all amazing on their own, but together it like sets you up to be such a queen. So it's mostly for feminines because it sets you up to be a queen. But if you're interested in that, reach out to me. It's only going to be available till July 31st, and I'm super excited to offer it to you all. It's kind of like the heart of my work, and as I turn 40, and for me, it's such a big point in my mom's journey, and like seeing her reflection of like knowing that like for most women, their 40th year, hi Andre, their 40th year is a big initiation into your power. And so I'm so excited to share at this 40th year a way for you to access more of your power. And this is what I'm here for. This is what it's all about. So Andre, let me know if you want a card. Type in the chat. If you're just joining me, type in the chat your first name, and I'm going to start pulling cards for people that remind me that they're here. So just type your name in the chat if you want a card. Evie, since you re-initiated in first, I'm going to pull you a card for this full moon. So this is, I didn't tell you guys when the full moon was. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's at 1 degree of Aquarius, and it's July 23rd in our time zone, so Pacific Standard Time. So yeah, look at if you have planets or placements around 1 degree of Aquarius or 1 degree of Leo or 1 degree of Taurus or Scorpio. Okay, that's going to give you good information about it. Okay, so Evie, this is your card for the full moon. Ooh, after the storm. So this shows kind of what I was talking about the work that you put in, especially in early February, is going to be clearing up, and the wisdom comes in from doing your work. So congratulations. This is more of like a, on the personal level.